Hello, this is Jeremy Arney, leader of the Canadian Action Party, talking to you on a beautiful sunny day here in Victoria, British Columbia. It's 28th of May 2015, and if I'm squinting a little bit, it's because the sun is just so delightfully bright, and it's relatively early in the morning too. Later, it's too darn hot. Talking of hot, I want to talk to you about a very, very hot subject, and that is the national debt. Now, everybody knows we have a national debt. Everybody's well aware of that. What they may not be aware of is just what it is. Well, as of this morning, there are two clocks which show what our national debt is. First one I'm going to talk about very briefly is the taxpayers' clock. It's very difficult to know exactly where they get their information from, but being taxpayers, I'm assuming they get it from a combination of Statistics Canada and CRA. Well, we all know how just exactly accurate CRA is, not only in their facts and figures, but also their ability to keep secrets. So it's probably fairly inaccurate, but their clock says that our debt, as of this morning, is $616 billion. It's a frightening amount of money. It's a really frightening amount of money when you consider that back in 2006, it was $452 billion. Which in itself is frightening enough. Now, the other clock is something called the nationaldebtclocks.org, and they have debt clocks of every country that they can get information on all the way around the world. They rely on government data. They also use the IMF and I believe the BIS too, and then they collate from that what they figure the date is, what they figure the debt is, and they keep it going. Both of them, by the way, are going up all the time. Now here's the scary part. This morning, the national debt clock figure was 1 trillion plus. 1 trillion plus. Now that's ridiculous. When you consider too that that same debt clock back in January or February of this year was claiming 700 billion. That means that in the last 3 months, our national debt has gone up by $300 billion. $300 billion. How could that possibly be? So it must be an error, you say. Well, okay, but I've been watching this debt clock very closely for the last month, and it has been hovering around 998 billion to a trillion almost every day. So they've had plenty of time to figure out if there is a mistake, but there doesn't appear to be a mistake. I've checked with other national debt clocks, such as with Norway, they seem to be in line. Ireland seem to be in line. The US seem to be in line. Was that 17 trillion or something like that? Can't remember exactly, but it's way up there. So I believe that that is the right figure. And that is Canadian dollars. That's not American dollars. The only thing I can think of the difference is that the taxpayers clock for some reason is in US dollars, but even so, still doesn't make much sense. Now, how does that actually affect you? Well, the national interest per year, the interest, compounding interest per year on that is $24 billion as of today. Per second, the interest is $791. Doesn't sound like much, does it? $791. Heck, that's half your rent. That's per second, people, per second. And what is your share on that? $28,181 as of this morning. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have a spare $28,181. And I don't know how I could get it, because any way I went to get it would be through a bank, and the banks would just increase the national debt through their crazy system. So what's the point? The point here is that we are in serious financial trouble, and we have nobody who's got any plan whatsoever to get out of this, except the Canadian Action Party. And if by now you don't know, we are fervent supporters of the Bank of Canada, as is COMA. And for those of you who also don't know, COMA have finally got approval. After years of trying, they've got a court approval to bring a court case, against the Minister of Finance, the Government of Canada, or the Harper government, whichever you want to think of it of. I think of it as the Harper government because I refuse to believe that a government of Canada could treat its people the way it does. And this court action, the time for appeal by the government for this not to go ahead, has, I believe, now passed, and as far as I know, no appeal has been made. So in spite of this, in spite of the fact that this court case is going to come up to say that, and also included in this is the Bank of Canada itself, because they are not being used and are not putting forward their use as the finances of Canada. In spite of this, there's still only one party which says we will use the Bank of Canada again the way it was designed to be used. That's the Canadian Action Party. None of the others. Greens are flirting with it, but they won't come out and say they'll actually do it. To me, it's one of these no-brainers. Either we get ourselves out of this financial situation or we die. Of course, there is another option, which I've been flirting with in my own mind, and that is to simply say to all the banks and international financiers who've loaned us all this money over the years, you know what, fellas? You've made your money back many times over. As far as we're concerned, the debt's paid in full, and we'll start again. And never ever use them again. Use the Bank of Canada, start from zero, and pay for everything we need, the social services, the infrastructure, the medications, the hospitals, the healthcare, education, everything. So there you go. There's hope yet. The national debt stands at over $1 trillion, but the Canadian Action Party sees a way out of it. So I'm signing off for this particular segment right now. Thank you for watching, and if you have any comments or you have anything you want to do to help me and to help the Canadian Action Party to recover the finances of the country, you know what to do. Go to our website, sign up, donate, run as a candidate, whatever you want. It's up to you, folks. It's your $28,181 we're talking about. Thank you.